Hi, guys. Welcome back to another episode of On the Couch with Terry. My name is Terry, and thank you for joining me once again. If you're new here, I just want to take this special moment to say welcome to On the Couch with Terry. I'd appreciate if you could click subscribe, like, and leave a comment and tell me where you're watching from, or tell me what you want to see more on the channel relating to anything. I'd really like to hear your thoughts around that. And to my community, I appreciate you so much. As you know, I appreciate you sharing, liking, and just encouraging me to keep on keeping on, right? Um, we're continuing with the career coaching series that started just a couple of weeks ago. And today's topic is on the job search strategies for 2026. And so we're going to be looking right into that. I just want to say, the jobs market is really frustrating for so many people, which is very, very understandable. And sometimes you get the temptation to apply just for about anything because what time is clicking. You gotta move. But I'm also here to help you to maybe ease it out on those application as well and look more into being more strategic into your applications. So we're going to be talking about just what are some of the platforms that you can use to send out your applications and really how to go about it. Um, and we need to always remember that visibility doesn't always mean apply, but it's more about where is it that you're applying and why is it that you're using that specific platform for you to apply. All right, so I'm going to be sharing a few tips on the job search strategies, and I've got my notes here, of course. So, the first thing that I wanted to remind you of, which I spoke a lot about on my previous video, which you can have a look at after this, um, you must have a couple of resumes that you have personally. I know that a lot of times we've got variety of experiences just by virtue of you moving from one company to the next. You are not a specialist really, but you've got a couple of experiences, a couple of skill sets that you've accumulated throughout the years. So I want you to start looking at it this way. So if you're, for instance, a person that is in IT, you want to consider about 3 to 5 job titles that fit your criteria. For instance, you want to look into software engineering, data scientist, or front end developer, right? Consider those five job titles, and you make it said that um those are the only jobs that you'll be applying for. And that means you are going to be creating 5 CVs. Similarly to the finance sector. So if you're a finance intern, you want to have a CV that introduces you, that presents you as a finance intern, that presents you as a finance administrator if you do have some sort of experience, as well as a payroll administrator. So with every application that you're going to make, so if you're going to apply for payroll administrator, you're going to then introduce yourself as a payroll administrator. If you're going to apply for a finance administrator, you're then going to introduce yourself as that. So this is just for you to be a little bit, just customize your CV a little bit more and narrow down your applications. Don't just apply for anything, but make a decision in terms of which jobs are you going to apply for, right? And stick to that and have CVs just for that, right? And now you're going to be going into where do you apply. I always talk about LinkedIn. LinkedIn, it's really proven to be one of the best platforms at the moment because companies directly go there and advertise their internal roles. So you want to make sure, first of all, that your LinkedIn page presents you well. You want to have a great picture there. You want to have your work experience there. You want to have your education outlined. You want to ensure that your executive summary, it's Well, you want to make sure that that is quite polished. So make sure that your LinkedIn is polished and ready. And it also says open to work, because we do consider that when we look at candidates on LinkedIn. All right. And the second thing is, don't be afraid to engage. And this is where the second thing, networking. So network. And networking doesn't always mean going and moving to function to function. Even on LinkedIn, you engaging with other recruiters, engaging with other candidates, it gives you a level of exposure that you may require, that may just open a new door for you. So don't be afraid to comment on people's post. Don't be afraid to creating your own post around your frustrations or anything that you think you might, want to share. So just be open to engagement, be open to networking, and that way you open more doors even beyond your immediate connections. And one of the reason why I want to mention LinkedIn is because LinkedIn, when a company posts on LinkedIn, already it's a soft what they're trying to achieve is that they are cost saving exercise for them. So they usually do consider that as the first place to go to before they can even, like, for instance, go on job boards, because by the time it gets to job boards, just know that they are paying quite a lot for that position. So consider LinkedIn, and just stay there and keep applying directly within companies. You must always read whether this is a recruiter or this is exactly the company. So I'd advise you to directly apply on LinkedIn to the companies. Similarly to company websites. So if you do see, for instance, a job on LinkedIn, you'd want to go into the website as well and see if that role is there and apply. And that helps you a lot, because companies, the first place where they look is within their database. So when they put out an advert, they'd want to come back there, and you'll be working with like internal recruiters. So internal recruiters will be looking at their online applications that comes either through LinkedIn or directly from their website. That's always the first place to go before they can reach out to a recruiter or before they can put it on a job board somewhere else. So those are the two best way for you to start applying. And I also just want to say that follow up. Hey, follow up on those applications. If you do have access, call the reception and ask them who you can speak to. If there's an email address, follow up and ask how it is going. It is always good to get like your response, your the reason why you didn't make it. So even if it's negative, just look for it. And I think a lot of people don't even follow up because you apply for so many roles. But if you narrow down your applications, and be a little bit more strategic, you can definitely contact the company, contact the recruiter, and ask for feedback around your applications. And I know that this may sound quite old school, but sometimes do pick up a call and speak to someone, because a lot of times we work with just words. We work with like a CV and an email, and there's no real touch to it. And sometimes you speak to a candidate and they just sound so great over the phone, so much so that you actually cannot forget them. So I'd advise you to call the companies, even sometimes before you apply. If you go to a certain company website and you see a role that you want to apply for, give them a call and hopefully get someone within HR that can tell you more about the role, and tell them, hi, my name is this. I saw this advert around the customer service role, or I saw this advert around accountant, and I would really like to send my application through. What is it about? Just engage. And I think when you do have those conversations, you usually come first to mind, because as a recruiter, or as an internal recruiter, or even an external recruiter, I will look forward to get your CV, because I'll be like, that person that I spoke to sounded very confident, well spoken, assertive. They knew exactly what they're looking for. And I think that's one of the things that you don't hide behind your CV. Show up. Show up by phoning, show up in any way that you can. Look for that feedback. And as mentioned, calling is always the best option. And I know that it is not as easy as it sounds, because HR barely answers their call, but put effort, like put effort into trying and to get that feedback from them. That is number two. Job boards that are popular in South Africa at the moment. Um, Peanut was one of them that we know specifically. We use it on some of our roles. So I advise you to create a profile there. It does keep information for quite some time as well. So have a PNet that you can upload your CV, but make sure that it's a CV that is also ATS friendly, meaning that you have followed at least some of the tips that I shared in my first video. So make sure that is an ATS friendly CV and put it up on job boards like PNet, Career Junction, and Indeed. So when we do search, you'll be one of the first few people that come through, because sometimes what happens is we, like, for instance, we advertise a role, and when we have like 600 applications, we will not be able to go through each and every single one and open and see what is the CV all about. What we do is that we do the search within a search. So we're gonna then filter out a lot of the things, a lot of the CVs, by making sure that we insert the keywords relating to that position. So that's what I said earlier on. You want to, not earlier in my previous video, to say that you want to make sure that you become detailed, you share the information. So when we do that search within a search, your CV comes about. But that's all I really wanted to share with you, to talk about the job strategies, the job search strategies that exist and how to go about it. I'm going to just run through them once again. Okay, number one, define your skill set. And this is where I spoke about having one or two or three CVs that you can use to apply for those specific roles that you have made a decision on. And number two, LinkedIn is your best friend. You want to go on LinkedIn and make sure that you apply for jobs which are advertised directly by companies or even the recruiters. Number three, you want to network. Network meaning that you want to engage with people. You want to talk about your desire to move or your desire to get new employment. Don't just keep quiet. Engage with people and ask for referrals. Create those relationships that will open doors for you. Number four, company website. Do your research. Do your research and go to the company website and see what websites are there. I mean, what job applications are there, and apply directly. And once you've done that, you want to be able to follow up. Put a lot of effort in putting up those follow up with the companies. Um, and number five, which is the job boards that are popular, which is PNet, Career Junction, and Indeed. So you want to get there, create a profile, upload a document, and that is when roles are advertised, you're able to apply and then hopefully get selected if you do have the right skill set for that role. So that is all I had to say. This is going to be a very brief video. So thank you so much for joining me once again. I'll see you guys on the next one. Mwah.